Welcome to Grace at the Fray, a podcast that explores the many dimensions of God's grace that we find at the frayed edges of life. Come explore how God's grace works to renew your life and send you on mission in His kingdom.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Grace at the Fray. Have you ever tuned into your favorite podcast to find that the familiar voice of the host has been somehow replaced by a stranger? Well, my name is Emily, and I will be your host for Grace at the Fray today. Now, don't panic. I want to assure you that Jim is alive and well. But let me ask you another question. Have you ever had a conversation with someone that feels so different, so new, that you walk away from it a changed person? Maybe someone's grown up in a completely different environment than you, and their story opens your eyes to experiences that you never even knew existed. Or perhaps someone defends their position on a certain political or theological view, and you find yourself returning to their argument because, well, you've just never thought of it that way. I think it's easy to surround ourselves with people who look and think like we do. But when we only surround ourselves with the familiar, we tend to become stagnant. It's almost like our love for comfort stunts our growth. There's a Kenyan proverb that says, "No matter how tall your grandfather is, you have to do your own growing." It's true, isn't it? That in order to grow as people, we need to intentionally get out of our comfort zones. It's true in my own life that God uses new conversations and experiences to change me, mature me, and make me more like Jesus. Jim and his friend Alan had the opportunity to visit Surge's missionaries in Kenya in December, with the intention of experiencing and recording the lives and ministries of our people there. Now, let me just recommend that if you're listening to this podcast right now, even though you have the ability to watch it on YouTube, that you might want to hit pause and switch over, because Jim will be sharing some actual footage from his trip to Kenya. Jim has a story to tell, and I'm delighted to help him tell it today. That I would interview you about your trip to Kenya.
This is your podcast. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I thought that I would interview you about your trip to Kenya so that we could get everybody ready for this series of podcasts that are coming. I'm hoping that this entices people to keep coming back.
I hope so too.
That's kind of the point.
I'm in full agreement with you.
I bet you are. That being said,
what a great idea.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
No, this is your podcast.
It is. All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here, Jim.
It's an honor.
Seriously, though, how is it in that chair?
I like the decor from this side. I really like the way you decorated it.
Not true.
Totally my style.
Imagine that.
It's crazy.
It is amazing. Well,
it needs work, though. I do know that it needs work.
It needs work.
It does. Well, it's on the pot. Throw it on the list of things that
need work for the studio. Well, I think you could put it lower on the list. It's fine. It serves a great purpose. It's warm and inviting.
Yeah. So. I am really glad that you're here. It's really cool that you agreed to do this. Yeah. It's awesome. So good.
Good. Well, I'm delighted to be here. But we really are here to talk about your trip and the upcoming podcast series. So I want to make sure that we cover the things that you feel are important and that I feel are important.
Yeah.
Since it's my podcast today. So in order to even prepare for this podcast, you sent me ahead of time just some of your initial thoughts in your itinerary. So I do have a little bit of an idea of certain things that happened, or it just kind of reading through that, it piqued my interest in different ways.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of come up with a series of questions for you. But I want you to feel free to, throw in anything else that you think is important. And if I don't think it's important, I'll tell you. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You'll tell me what to edit out later.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
No. So one of the things that you said is that when you got back from Kenya, a lot of people asked you, how was Kenya?
It was interesting how when you come off the field, you have all these stories, right? Mm-hmm. And for folks who've been years on the field, you know this, you come back and people go, hey, how was it? And you're like, what? I don't even know what to say.
Right.
You know,
right.
Years and years, the Lord has done so many things. Well, I had 2 weeks worth, and so there's, in a sense, it's like, well, it was only 2 weeks, but it was so dense with, you saw the itinerary. Mm-hmm. Everybody who saw the itinerary was like, there's no way that he's going to be able to do all those things. And I did have to change the itinerary somewhere in there because I realized there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. And it was really cool the way that the Lord worked all that out when I was agonizing over, if I change things, I don't get to do this and right. all that. But the Lord had a plan. It was really cool.
Wait. I don't want you to tell me how Kenya was yet, though.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't because there's just too much.
Well, and that's just it. So actually, I have a different question that I want to start with you.
All right, I'm ready.
The question is, why Kenya?
I wasn't planning on going to Kenya. And then Mark Davis, we were in a meeting, and Mark Davis said this little thing. Oh, yeah, when I go to Kenya with George Mixon, this December, maybe December, maybe April. And I was like, wait, you're going to Kenya? I want to go to Kenya. We have a lot of missionaries in Kenya. I would love to get their stories. I would love to tell the stories of what Surge is doing in Kenya. I'd love to hear those stories. Mm-hmm. And then as we started making plans, Mark actually wasn't able to go. Mm-hmm. And so I met up with George Mixon. My friend Alan and Alan was the videographer. So that's what started it. And so then as I'm thinking about, okay, what is this trip going to look like? And then talking with various missionaries all over, trying to figure out an itinerary. You don't want to be a burden to people like, hey, I'm coming over, like that.
Here we are now, entertain us.
Exactly. And, I like that reference, by the way.
Thank you. You can put that in the bottom.
Yeah, a little asterisk. So the question was, what can the African church, what can a broken African church teach a broken American church? And I wanted to hear it from that perspective because of the scars of colonialism over the years has always been, what can the West teach other cultures? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, we're kind of over that.
Yeah.
And one of the beautiful things about Surge is as we engage in gospel for ourselves, we start to see, oh, wait a second. I don't have like some special message to bring. I'm actually, it's like Dan Matches says all the time, I'm just one beggar showing another beggar where I'm going to find bread today.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so the gospel levels the playing field to where a broken African church, a broken Kenyan church has so many things to say to the American church. So that was kind of my lens as I was going in. Yeah.
Just for the sake of it, to talk, we should just mention that, one of Surge's oldest fields is in Africa. They started kind of, Jack and Rosemary started in Uganda and Ireland were like our early fields. And so you were kind of right up there. You were there with people. You had some long standing missionaries that you were interviewing as well as some really new ones. And so it's a pretty well established place for us. We've had some people there for a long time.
Yeah.
In the vicinity. So
yeah.
Well, good. Well, thanks for answering that question. Why Kenya? That's good to know. And then the next question I will ask now is how was it? How was it for you to go over there?
I don't know how to say, but that's why we're doing the podcast, right?
Right.
Because there's no 3-minute version. There's no elevator
pitch.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was a lot of things. It was the profound thing, as Alan and I every evening would kind of go rehash the day. Hey, what did you think about this day? The word paradox just kept coming up of how there are these beautiful things going on, happening in some really raw ways. And it was just this paradox. We were just confronted with different paradoxes of immense beauty, wisdom, the Spirit moving in amazing ways, in really raw, broken, tragic, poverty-induced areas, as well as like places of injustice. And it was just like there in Technicolor, just very vivid, like there it is. There's no hiding.
Right.
And so that was one of the things that is interesting about how the church in Africa, the church in Kenya, is like, hey, we're not going to hide behind our suburban life, our suburban American life. Here it is. And this is why we need Jesus right now. What about you? And it's like, oh, I'm kind of inoculated to my comfort. Ooh. And so I was confronted with the word comfort.
Yeah.
In the idolatry of comfort.
Yeah.
In the United States. Okay. Well, there it is. Like just in very vivid.
Yeah.
Like another thing in terms of like what those 2 weeks were like, they were super busy.
Yeah.
And it was a mix of jet lag, and in the middle of the week I realized that I had culture shock for the first time in like 20 years. I hadn't experienced culture shock.
What was that like? How did that manifest while you were there?
Well, it started earlier that day where I was haggling with somebody for something that was clearly overpriced. It started off being ridiculously overpriced, but then eventually it was just like, this is overpriced. And, just feel the feeling of being duped, which it's one of the things that I put a lot of boundaries around my life so that I don't feel that sense of being duped or taken advantage of, and it happened. And so I was just grumpy, super grumpy and tired, and I was like, I want to go home, and so pouty. And so then I just like took stock of that for a second, and it just hit me. Oh man, you're exhausted. You have jet lag. You're pouty because you didn't get your way. You're all these things, and
right.
And it's like, this is culture shock. Oh right, I forgot what this is like. But then that was in the middle of the trip. 7 days later, I was like, I don't want to go home. I love these people. I love what the Lord's doing here.
That's right.
It's just very interesting how it's a thing. Culture shock is a thing. Jet lag is a thing.
Right.
And it brings out stuff, but it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks is not a super long time to be in a place. It's long enough for it to stop feeling like shiny new.
Yeah.
But I would venture to say that if you had been there for 4 weeks, you probably would have gone back down into some more culture shock moments and then come back up into the I love this place.
Yep.
And it would go like that for the rest of your life while you were there.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's like when you go to a place that's different from your home. So this is something that you wrote. I'm going to read it back to you. Okay. When people ask you, how is Kenya? You said, when I hear that question, in a flash, my mind thinks of a lot of things to say, like how the colors in Kenya seem more brilliant than where I live. It's like the saturation filter on my eyes is kicked up a few notches. So the greens of the landscape are greener and the reds of the dirt are redder. The blue skies seem bluer in Kenya. So my question for you is, what does going to a new place, why does this do this to us? Like, why isn't the sky the same blue at home?
It's interesting. I've been thinking about this because how it may very well be that, well, it was December in Philadelphia when I left. So it was gray.
So it literally was not. Yeah.
And then I'm in equatorial Kenya, where I'm closer to the sun than I've ever been. And then I go up to the mountains in Chogoria, and it's just this jungle, but high altitude, and everything is fertile year round. The bananas are growing off the trees. Ate a banana right off the trees, like it's on my bucket list.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. To do it again.
Oh, there you go. This time in South America.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so there was something about maybe the change from being in Philadelphia to being in summertime, or it's not summertime, it's just almost the same year round. But there is something about, and this is like a case for short-term missions where you get an eye, you it's like your eyes are open to the possibilities of everything, and I'm a very curious person, and so I go into those kinds of contexts and I'm just wide-eyed, and I think that it's a posture of being receptive to whatever the Lord would do. And so some sense of, maybe it's the same, that curiosity and being receptive are kind of the same thing, but just open to whatever could happen, and you just like receive more, you know, with your eyes just a little bit more open, with anticipation. I think that's probably what it was. I don't know. You've been overseas. What was it like for you?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that happen, and I venture to go back to what you were saying about comfort. That I think when we're taken, I think that our senses get dulled by our comfort, and so when we're no longer comfortable in those things, I think our senses are heightened. So we smell things differently, we see things differently, we hear, like, these are new sounds, and and I think it just depends on the kind of person you are, the personality.
Yeah.
Some people will walk through and be like, this is amazing. And other people will walk through and say, danger, danger, this is very threatening. And so it's really important, I think, to know that different people deal with that different ways.
Yeah.
One's not right and one's not wrong. It just is what it is.
That's right.
Right. And so you just want to say that. So I think that is something that I think about when, like, just even moving out, doing something risky, something other than what's normal. And to be honest, I think that that society right now is a lot more risk averse than they are willing to take risks. But I wish people would take more risks.
Yeah, so there's a vigilance that I had almost the whole time, partly because it's unfamiliar. And so it's just natural when you're in an unfamiliar place that you're going to be like on the lookout. Yeah. But we actually did go into a good number of very dangerous places where before we go, hey, here's some warnings. Don't do this. Hey, when we drive through this part of town, keep your window up. Right. Hey, don't have your phone in your lap and the window down. Right. Here's a story about how That's right. How someone got their phone just right out of their hand as they were holding it. Oh, yeah. Stuff like that where you're like, all the time. Okay. You know, hey, don't go here because there's a lot of pickpocketing. You know, that kind of vigilance makes it where you're. But I think you're right. The nature of, this is a little bit dangerous, and so I'm anticipating that probably opens things up to where the risks. I mean, we had a wonderful time, and the worst thing that happened to me was I paid a little bit too much for this thing, you know. And then everyone's like, "Look, get over yourself. You're helping the people that made that. Like, stop being a jerk," you know. And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're right." So it was a very vivid trip. Everything about it was just vivid. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get to some lighter questions. Lighter questions? Lighter questions. The first thing is, what is the weirdest thing for you? That you consumed. I didn't eat anything that I didn't like. That's good. Yeah. I did discover, not in this trip, the thing that I don't like, and I will never eat again. What's that? And it's I don't remember what it's called, which is the one thing that worries me. Because that's worrisome. If it gets served up to me again, I'll just Google it again. It ended up being beef lung. Ooh, spongy. Was it spongy? It was spongy. And like bouncy. Yeah. And squeaky. Yep. Well, during the Eid Kabir, we would, like, when they sacrificed the lamb, they would always have the lung meat, organ meat, the first day. Yeah. But see, that's us. That's very culturally. I mean, it is like a delicacy for them. I mean, I had the best stewed goat that I've ever had. Yeah. And here in the States, I'm not a huge fan of the goat. But over there, every goat dish that I had, I was like, oh, I could eat goat. They know how to cook it. But yeah, we were coming back from the Masai Mara, and we stopped at the Chariots for Hope children's home in Mai Mahiu, and they served us this feast. And she goes, she gives us a tour of the orphanage, and then she goes, now we will take water together. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm thirsty. Sure, okay. And water is a feast, and it was amazing. Gigantic avocados, and I said, how much would this gigantic avocado be at the grocery store? Or, it's not a grocery store. It's
right in the market.
And they're basically like, I don't know, 10 cents, because they grow everywhere wild.
Right.
And so it's like, you can't sell these. Everybody can get them everywhere.
Yeah.
But the goat was amazing. So I never had anything I didn't like, but I did have, the goat was like, this is how you make this.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
So did you learn some Swahili?
Oh, I did. Well, I practiced it a lot.
So if somebody gave you a delicious goat stew, what would you say?
Here's what they taught me to say at George Mixon and Ben Neihart went, and I went to Kitengela for a pastor's conference. And so it's like these pastors from all over the country. And immediately I'm like, okay, teach me how to say this food is good, And so this is how you say it. You ready? Iki chakula nikitamo.
All right.
That's how you say that.
All right.
Iki chakula nikitamo. I practiced a lot, and I don't think I said anything like your mom is a whatever.
Oh yeah.
To embarrass myself, but I did mess up a lot. But Swahili's fun to practice. Blessings, the Lord bless you, is ubarikiwe.
Oh, okay.
So that's be blessed. So
are you going to start the podcast with
ubarikiwe.
or end the podcast?
I never
with
learned
that?
how to say hello, beloved. I'll figure that out.
It's got to be
Hello, beloved in Swahili.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll figure that out.
Oh yeah, it would be good. So, what's the coolest for you animal that you saw?
When we went to the safari.
Yeah.
Well, we saw a black rhino, and so that's kind of rare.
Yeah.
That was
Although
pretty
they
cool.
had one in the zoo in North Africa, a black rhino.
That's a zoo. We saw it in the wild.
In the wild. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
It was amazing. They said, okay, we could do a day trip to the safari in Nairobi, or we could do a trip down to the Masai Mara. And when some of the plans fell through, I was like, you know what? Instead of a day trip to the Nairobi National Park,
Right.
Let's do it. Let's just go down to the Masai Mara. And that's how we ended up stumbling across the orphanage, which, all part of the Lord's providence. But when we were there, we saw elephants, and we were in this huge Land Rover with the top off, like up. And we're just looking, and we come up against this herd. Is it a herd of elephants?
Yeah, I think so.
With two babies.
Or is it a pod? It might be a pod. No, that's whales. Herd. We'll stick with herds.
We're going to stick with herd. We need the Grace at the Fray fact checking. So they just hung out around the truck,
Right.
for a long time, and we're just taking tons of pictures, and we got really close. I made the mistake. It wasn't a mistake, and nothing happened, but we came across a couple male lions that were just chilling out on the side of the road, and so I'm filming one, and it's like over there, and I have my arm out the window, and Alan's right here. He's like, dude, get your arm in. Get your arm in. Get your arm in. And so I look down, and the other male lion just kind of walks under my arm. And I was like, so that was pretty cool. The safari was pretty amazing.
I want to go on a safari one day.
Yeah, it was, once in a lifetime thing. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, in thinking more just about your personal experience, we're going to talk more about kind of like the goal that you had of going there. I want to talk more about that. But before we get there, just more about your experience. What was something or things that really surprised you?
Well, something that surprised me about myself was the culture shock,
Yeah.
and that was humbling. It was good. It was
Yeah.
good to kind of be confronted with that. And I was talking to Lori that night. It was like, dark. And it was morning for her. I can't remember what the time change was. And as I was talking to her, that's when it was like, oh yeah, this is culture shock. And I was embarrassed, and I told her, I said, I'm afraid. And I was embarrassed to be afraid. And so that was something like that I had to confront I'm not the guy that's like, fear isn't just like the thing that's right in front of me.
Right.
It's more like anger and arrogance and some of these other things that are like, I just know about those things. So when fear comes up and sneaks up on me, I'm kind of like, what is that? What is that? What's that emotion? What is that emotion? And then as I'm talking to Lori, I'm like, oh, I'm afraid. And so it was this, oh, Jesus, help me to not be afraid.
Yeah.
I don't want to be afraid.
Right.
And so moving from the culture shock that kind of brought out my fear, by the end of the week, it was like, oh, I'm not afraid like I was. You know, so that was something that surprised me. But and that was about myself. About the culture, though, I don't know. I think it was like you go into the slums of Nairobi. And I've been to the slums in North Africa, and where we went in Nairobi was considered the largest slum in all of Africa. And so we're walking through, and Alan and I were just overwhelmed. And people were prepping us. Hey, you know, we're going to be going into these slums, and it's going to be pretty overwhelming. And I was like, yeah, I've been to slums before. I know what you mean. I think I have an imagination for this. But the difference was when we walked around, actually talking to people and hearing people's stories. That's what it was. It was other slums that I've walked through. You know, talking to people, but not actually like really sitting down with their stories and hearing their stories. And you know, I don't know if I'm skipping ahead, but that's part of this profound quandary that Alan and I found ourselves in, where we're hearing these stories that could be easily exploited for likes and subscribes and all of that. And we're like, what is our responsibility to these people as they've told their stories? How do we honor these people? And we realized just in the wrestling with that, we realized that what we were trying to protect was the image of God that person has, and we don't want to dishonor the fact that they are image bearers, and they are inherently honorable, inherently valuable, and we're not going to objectify them and use them. But then at the same time, a couple of days later, I realized, oh, well, I was really wrestling with Jesus about what do I do with this? What do I do about what I've seen? What do we do about what we've filmed? What do we do with this stuff? You know, and I woke up the next morning, maybe two days later, and the morning reading was Jesus. I don't remember what it was. Luke, Matthew, Gospel. Jesus.
Jesus said it.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, there you go.
Jesus saw the crowd, and he had compassion on them. And it was like, okay, well, we had the compassion part because we saw. Oh, well, what would it be like to help other people see so that they can have compassion? And then the next part of that verse is, and so he went about healing them. Okay, so that's where we were overwhelmed, because we're like 1.5 million people in this 1 square mile area. What kind of healing can we bring? And we were just both overwhelmed. And so let's pause the healing part and just look at the compassion part. Okay, well, let's pause the compassion part and just look at help people see. And so that's what, when that episode comes out, the idea is, I want you to see this so that you can have compassion, and maybe, just maybe, you might participate in some way with the healing.
Right. Yeah, I think that there's an interesting dynamic when we put ourselves out of our normal places, our normal, and we're confronted by things like that. You know, oftentimes, I would imagine, like you said, you kind of go in there into a place like that, and you think, because of experiences that you've had, you've kind of conjured up in your mind what it's going to be like and how you're going to respond, and how you are going to impact the people that you come in contact with. And then you go in there, and it's like all of that just flies out the window, and you are just being barraged. You are being impacted. You are the one. Why does God take us into situations like that? Like, why do you think he takes us into situations like that?
Isn't that interesting? It's like you are going to be you. And sometimes you have to be taken out of a place where you can no longer be strategic about how you present yourself. You can no longer be just in control with the decisions that you make. He puts you in places where you go with your gut. You have to go with your gut because it's happening so fast. It's so new. You don't have a context for this. And so there you are. There you are. And so for me, it was like, oh, you think that you don't have fear. It's because you've been living in a life where fear hasn't been the thing that has tempted you away from trusting Jesus. Well, let's just put you in a place where you discover that that's a thing. It's still a thing in your heart. You've just figured out a way of managing it in your suburban Philadelphia life where you're just not really afraid anymore.
Right.
And that's not good because why am I not afraid? Because I'm not being threatened. Well, when I'm threatened, what do I turn to? And that's always the question,
Yeah.
And I turn to, grabbing hold of control in some way. Well, the beautiful thing about that trip was it's out of my control.
Yep.
And so it's almost like everything speeds up the process of what following Jesus looks like when you discover, oh, I need to confess this sin and I need to repent and I need to receive the grace that Jesus offers me right now. And when that's just happening faster in a new culture, maybe I guess because I experienced that.
Yeah.
And when he took me out of my normal.
Yeah.
And so that was it's really good. It's really good to be taken out of your normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I agree with you about that. And I think that the reality is that in those moments, you are experiencing what is closer to the truth.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a level of clarity that you have in those moments that you don't necessarily have when you're in your comfort zone.
Yep.
And again, I think it's really important as we talk about these things, just talking about any person in any place different from where they are. So it's not so much that like Kenya is the place that does this to people.
That's right.
Like we don't want it. That's not what we're saying. We're saying like if somebody went from, Maine to the West Coast.
Yeah.
They would experience the same thing. So this isn't necessarily like a national kind of thing that we're talking about. We're just talking about people who live in a certain way and are somehow put in a place where that's not the way people live.
Yeah.
And how experiencing that opens your eyes to God's power and presence in a deeper way.
Yeah. And someone who loves change and loves a new adventure, even I was confronted with, oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I'm uncomfortable. Oh, no, I'm uncomfortable, And Jesus goes, yeah, what are you going to do about that? And I go, I can't do anything about that. And he goes, finally you admit that.
Yes, as you're talking, I'm just like, I'm so happy for you.
Right? Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
And also, now that you've experienced that, how is that going to be worked out here? How is God going to use that experience of you understanding a little bit more about what it is to be fearful? How is that going to work out in your life now?
Yeah.
Like where can you see that being, fruit from that? I mean, are you a dad?
It's funny. We were talking about how, I can't remember how I was talking about this, but I was like, am I getting old? Is it because I'm getting old? Or is it because the world is more scary? Like measurably more scary? Or is it just me? Do I feel like the world is more scary? Or is the world actually more scary? And it kind of doesn't matter. Either way, fear is there.
Right.
And the loss of control is there. And as, you're talking about kids, my oldest says we're looking at colleges and, I'm just freaking out. Oh, teaching her how to drive. And Lori's like,
well, that's scary for everybody.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is Lori's like, I thought I was going to be the one that was paranoid, but man, you're kind of off the charts scared about all of this, aren't you? And I'm like, well, I want to be thorough.
Yeah. Thorough.
So it's there,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
Going away I didn't go to where fear is. Mm-hmm. I brought the fear with me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so it's here. It's right now. It's in this room. There's no
So
threat.
is Jesus.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's a heightened awareness of both. And that's the key is that when we are honest with these things, Jesus is quicker to meet us than our fear is.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why you're like, oh, I'm so happy for you. Because it's liberation.
It is, and that's just it. And I think so many of us going into a situation like that, if we were to feel fear, our automatic response to that fear is shame.
Yeah.
And that shame can keep us from going to really the only place that fear can be dealt with.
That's right.
And sometimes we'll scramble to try to push that fear down by doing other things, by going to other places, when really Jesus is right there to say, I mean, what do they, it's like one of the most common phrases in Scripture.
It's the most common command.
Right.
Fear not.
Fear not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just love that. I really am happy for you in that. And I also know that it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm happy for you, and I hope I don't have to go through that anytime soon.
That's right.
But, however, David, my husband, he's deploying soon.
Yeah.
6 months, and so there's a lot of that. I don't want to say negotiating because that's not what it is. That's not a good word for
Contending.
it. Yeah, contending and taking and then giving back and taking and giving back to the Lord. Like, all right, So it's there, and it comes and goes in all sorts of ways, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, okay, you shared your itinerary with me and some short notes, like I said at the beginning. So without giving too much away, there were some things that piqued my interest.
Okay, give it to me.
I got to turn my page over.
Oh.
I was particularly interested in hearing more about your interactions with the chaplains in Chicoriya.
Yeah.
Possibly because I'm married to a chaplain, but also because the things that you wrote about them and about their ministry were just fascinating and a little just bizarre. Like, I just want to hear more about it. Can we talk about it now?
Be more. Yeah.
Okay.
Be more specific.
So,
Which ones piqued your interest?
Well, who are these chaplains and what do they do?
Well, so when I was in Chicoriya, touring the hospital with Derek and Lauren Weber,
who are sweet, wonderful people. They've done a podcast with you, haven't they?
Yeah.
You can go back and look at their podcast if you want to learn more about them.
Yeah. And what's so cool about it is the episode 2 of this is Lord willing, going to be episode 5.
Yeah.
And episode 2 was an interview with Paul and Lynn Operiato, who are doctors in Chicoriya.
Okay.
And so part of the way that, just again, like the way that, okay, let's go back to the original question. Why Africa or why Kenya?
Yeah.
And I go, well, now that I really think about it, it's like, that's what Jesus wanted. Because there's so many
Good
things.
answer.
There's so many, Jesus. There's so many things that it's clear that the Lord worked them out. And, from Derek and Lauren Weber last season to Paul and Lynn Operiato visiting, and I got to interview them before I went.
Yeah.
And staying at their house in Chicoriya while they were here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And thanks, Paul and Lynn.
Shout out.
And shout out. So we find ourselves in Chicoriya. Derek and Lauren are giving us a tour of the hospital, and just the way that the hospital is just the architecture, even the location of the hospital grounds. All of these things are significant and meaningful in ways that are just like really surprising. And I sit down with the chaplains I sat down with 3 of the 5 chaplains, and just getting to hear what their life is like, where they wake up and they pray together, and then off they go to different departments in the hospital. And I mean, the most powerful thing, and I can't wait to talk more about this, in that episode. The most powerful thing is the way that there was holistic medicine happening at Chagorria Hospital. So if anybody feels, if any doctors or nurses or PAs out there feel like they're stifled, that they can't do more holistic medicine, that there's no place, there is a place, and how chaplains are invited to come, and they are considered a valuable asset to the medical, to the business of the hospital. Like there's a deep understanding. We can't do this without chaplains, and that was so refreshing, and then to hear these chaplains' humility as they off they go to minister to the sick and the dying, to the mentally ill, to that culture that is dealing with all sorts of things like witchcraft and demon possession, and it's just this beautiful picture of holistic medicine. And there they are doing their thing.
Yeah, immediately when I read that, and even just hearing you talk about it now, it does remind me of Surge's mission, which is to reach, renew, and restore. And a lot of the ministry that we do as an organization falls under one or more of those categories. But to have one that falls into all three is like jackpot.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting. It's so exciting to hear that those things are happening. So the two words that were in the itinerary that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
And you may decide to edit this out. You may not. It's up to you. But the first one was exorcism.
Oh, right.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then the second one was circumcision.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, they're actually important parts of the job that these chaplains are doing, and their goals. So to talk a little bit, are you okay to talk a little bit more about that, or is that for the episode?
I'm going to give you a teaser. I'm not going to tell you.
Oh,
but
dang it.
in that episode, we're going to talk about the crisis of manhood.
Yeah.
Because that's what I learned about. And the rituals of circumcision are a significant aspect in Kenyan culture. Right. All the tribes.
Yep.
How it's part of what it means to be man. So what does that look like for Christian men? What does that look like for Chagorria Hospital, for these chaplains to be guiding young men into manhood? And it's just really cool. And that was another aspect of what can a broken Kenyan church teach a broken American church? Well, what they can teach about the crisis of manhood that we are experiencing here in the United States is really interesting. And I don't necessarily have any silver bullet answer about that. I'm just fascinated about the conversation, the discussion that generated. A cross-cultural discussion. I, an American, hearing about what ritual circumcision looks like for these, and the way that the Christian community is ministering to people, and then what that means for the American church. Oh, very fascinating. And the other part, so I use the word exorcism. They use the word deliverance.
Praise Jesus.
And so we'll tell some stories about what deliverance looks like, and what syncretism looks like, and what living in a culture but not being of a culture, and offering, and how Jesus is victorious over powers and principalities. Like all of that in the American culture is downplayed significantly. And what does it mean for our wrestling, not against flesh and blood, but against the powers and principalities? And so I'm not going to say any more. Well,
but I do think it's interesting that there's this holistic aspect to the spiritual realm, as well as the physical realm, and this idea that it's not simple.
Yeah,
we wish it would be, but it's not.
Yeah, and that's part of the expectations in American culture, where you go, well, just take this Tylenol and your headache will go away.
Yeah,
Well, I've got a story. It's kind of cool. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to tell you right now.
Oh, dang it. All right. Okay. So, again, no spoiler alerts, but or no spoilers is what I want to say. So most of what you did while you were there was you visited different missionaries and ministries of our organization, of Surge, including not just medical work, but I think there was some athletic ministries like sports outreach. You got to visit a boarding school for missionary kids. You got to talk with people who were doing storying, Bible storying, which we would, as an organization, kind of file under facilitated church planning, coming alongside and helping to build up the church. But you also talked with some homeschooling moms. And I just, just give us a little picture, because they're missionaries too. And I just want to hear a little more about how that was. How are they doing over there? Those homeschooling moms.
If I said, "Hey, homeschooling moms, would you love it for a missionary kid teacher to come live with you guys and teach your children?" Who wants that? It's like unanimous hands up. We would love to have help. And the beauty of it is, like, without that help, and there's always a need for missionary kid teachers. Always. And as I'm hanging out with kids running around and it's awesome. They're like, yeah, we're doing a Shakespeare club where all the kids are going to be doing. I don't remember. Was it The Tempest? I don't remember what it was.
Fun.
It was. I was like, wow, this is a legit education.
Sure is. Shakespeare.
And what these kids are 7. So they're doing amazing work with their children, but there's a sense of discouragement and tired, because a lot of these women have medical degrees.
Oh yeah.
And so there's a real sense of, the Lord has called me to this, and it doesn't feel as glorious as maybe this over here. And and just watching them contend with that and see how this really is glorious.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying 2 things, right? I'm like, okay, well, we need missionary kid teachers to in basically every field.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could list them, and I'm going to do a little commercial in just a moment.
Nice,
so
nice.
yeah. But go ahead.
But then at the same time, what the Lord has given them right now, they're leaning into, And so we got to sit there where this one was in Chogoria, where it's like, hey, who's up in this hour to do, I don't know what if it was math or whatever it was. It was like
a cooperative.
And they're just working together in this beautiful community, and that's part of this payoff, where they're not alone, and they're working together in this beautiful community to raise their children. And so it takes it's a village. It's literally a village. It takes a village.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful, and they would love it.
Yeah.
If someone would come.
Well,
imagine the blessing that would be.
Oh, well, and this goes back to what we were just talking about getting out of your comfort zone. Like, not only would you be a blessing to these families, but you would be blessed. I don't know if you heard this or not, but my oldest, who's a TCK, third culture kid, grew up overseas. One of the women that she knew as a child overseas was a worker on her team, a single woman. They were really close, but she was little. And she's almost 21 now, and she's studying abroad, and she had the opportunity to go and spend the weekend with this woman who had invested so much in her, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was just so sweet to see the lasting impressions that both of them had on each other.
Wow.
Even all these years later. And I do think that opportunity, and I also think this is why Surge likes to send in teams, the opportunity to live as exiles or as foreigners, in a place together is something that is just really special.
Yeah.
You don't really get it anywhere else. it's like unique.
Yeah.
And it forms these really amazing bonds and friendships. So yeah, we do need missionary kid teachers. We need missionary kid teachers. Now I'm looking right into the camera, and I'm not supposed to do that. He told me not to. And I'm saying that as a recruiter now, I'm not the podcast host, I'm a recruiter. If you know of anybody who's interested in being a missionary kid teacher, please visit our website and check out the opportunities and come alongside them. If they're younger, come alongside them and look at the website with them, and pray about whether or not this might be something God is calling them to do. I just had to do it.
It was good though.
Oh, thank you. And there's all sorts, I wanted to say this too. There's all sorts of teaching opportunities. It's not just like the rural Kenya teams. Right. There are established schools where some of our teams are that also need teachers, where you could go and work at that school and be attached to a search team. So it's not just about like going out to the bush and doing that, although that's awesome. But there's also places really all over the world that there's opportunities. If you're a teacher, please. So there's that.
Yeah. And there was an apprentice there in Chogoria, and she was doing, she was a part of the family. And so as you're talking about the legacy, she's leaving a legacy.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so the last question that I have for you, and this is actually the one that I'm really excited about, is you've gathered all this footage, right? I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about your creative process. So I have basically three questions, and I'm going to give them all to you at once, and then you can just talk about it, because I know you can handle it. How do you tell stories with integrity? Mm-hmm. Do you feel any kind of pressure to deliver? And how do you decide what stays and what goes?
Oh, man. That third one's hard. What was the first one? Because I can handle it.
You can handle it. Well, I think the first one kind of actually encompasses all of them, which is like how do you tell stories with integrity?
Every human has a story, and every story is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And so it's the curiosity of, hey, who are you? How did you get here? You know, because it's going to be fascinating. You know, and so that's what it is. It's you're looking for the humanity of it that just so happens to be image of God bearing story. It's a story of someone who bears the image of God.
Right.
You know, and so
whether they recognize it or not.
Right. Absolutely. And so it's almost like a detective, like scoping it out. What's the Lord doing in this person? What's the Lord doing in this area? The second question. What was the second question?
Do you feel any pressure to deliver?
I feel the pressure I feel is like I want to honor these people's stories.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fumble it. You know. And then that goes into like the third question where I have over 25 hours worth of footage that Alan and I filmed together. Yeah. I mean, he did obviously he did the bulk of the filming. His arms were tired and he never got over the jet lag, and so he's just kind of like, holding the cameras.
That's a disclaimer if any of the footage is a little wobbly.
No,
I'm sure it's perfect. Yeah.
It was so cool to get to go with him. And I'm super thankful to get to do that. And he refuses to be in front of the camera, and so
which is so funny to me.
Yeah,
that's ironic.
Yeah, he's awesome. So looking through these things and going, okay, what's the story that I can tell? And I guess what I feel most is there's so many stories, so little time, so many stories, so little resources. You know, are there people that can come alongside me and edit for me? I did not go to seminary to edit film. No. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're figuring it out. You know,
you're doing a great job.
Thanks. It's been fun. So, but the creative process is, okay, where can I pull out the story that is going on here? And it's always going to be a story that in some way reflects renewal and mission going hand in hand, where the Lord has called this person to some place where they are shown their brokenness and God's glory, and they're responding in a way that is a blessing to the people around them.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Right. Yeah.
And for each individual, it's just like this over and over. And what's been really fun doing this podcast for Surge has been those stories are just kind of like always at the forefront of people's hearts and minds. The Surge workers, they're just always there. So it doesn't take much for me to poke somebody and
that's exactly
and
right.
out comes gospel glory of weakness and brokenness and humility and vulnerability of these people that are kind of like, I don't really know what to do here, but Jesus seems to always rescue me. And those stories, like, I can't get enough of those stories because I need to hear those stories too, because I'm constantly doubtful.
Yeah.
Are you really going to save me? Are you really going to take away my fears? Are you really going to, And then someone comes along with a beautiful story and they're like, and that's what Jesus did for me. And I'm like, I believe.
Help my unbelief. Yeah.
So
no,
I don't know. I mean, the short answer is I'm overwhelmed. There's so much from Kenya from 2 weeks.
Well, we were just in a meeting before this because we both work with Renewal, and we were talking about this project that we're all working on and just the importance of the leading of the Holy Spirit. And I just don't want to underestimate, I just want you to know that I'm praying for you, that the Holy Spirit will lead and help you sort through, because I would imagine that it would feel like quite the responsibility.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because it's not just you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the creative process is the Lord loves it when we make stuff for him. And even in the making, we are being like him.
Yeah.
And so we sit down and we go, okay, what do you want to make today? And I go, I don't know. What do you want to make today? And he goes, no, what do you like? Tell me what footage you like.
That's right.
And so there's this beautiful collaboration with the Spirit. And there's a book that I love called The War of Art, which is a play on the art of war. That's an ancient. So this is the War of Art.
Okay.
And it talks about the creative process.
Yeah.
And the book is super helpful for me. And so the dude talks about the muse, and i.e. the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And he ventures into spiritual territory just more than...
How can you not when you talk about creativity?
Well, yeah. More than he rightly should for his worldview.
Right.
So he's borrowing Christianity in order to make this argument about how the muse, the Spirit, you put yourself in a position where the Spirit, through the disciplines of the work of being a creative person and its work, you put yourself in that place so that when the muse hits, you're ready for it.
Right.
And so while I was there, it was a lot of Jesus put me in the right place, because I've got jet lag. My brain is foggy.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Like I'm interviewing somebody and having that conversation with Jesus in my mind, where I'm like, did I ask a question? They're answering. Pay attention. All of those things, jet lag. And just trusting that Jesus wants those stories to be told too.
Yeah.
And there's a tenderness and there's a joy, because he's a joyful king who loves to wrap his hands around our fumbly hands and go, hey, let's sculpt this.
Yeah.
Hey, do that. Ooh, what do you think about that? And suddenly we were participating with the divine.
Yep. One of my favorite parts of my work as a mobilizer, as a recruiter, is that I get to ask people to give me their testimony, to tell me how they met Jesus. And I don't think I've ever finished any one of those interviews without being like, well, that was a miracle.
Right.
Praise Jesus. Like, to God be the glory. And there is this really beautiful thing about hearing people's stories that really do exactly what you said. They bolster our own faith. They're these tiny And when I say tiny, I mean like in the scheme of all of God's creation, these
Right.
tiny explosions of His grace that just, come out and they really do. They strengthen us and they help us. So I love that. I love that about my job. So I guess my next question is, where are you going now? What's next on the agenda?
People ask me that. I don't know. Well, I laugh because 2 years ago, I was like, oh man, I'd love to go to Kenya with Alan.
That's amazing.
And then Jesus goes, okay. And then a year and a half later.
Boom.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But right now, so the conference is in Spain this May. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I should go because I want to connect with missionaries and tell their stories. And then I was like, I don't have it right now.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah, later. Another time.
So we'll see. I don't know. We can pray about that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you so much for coming on to my podcast today.
It was an honor. You are amazing.
Oh, thanks, Jim. You cannot put that in there.
And I love what you've been doing with this podcast. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was like,
you can't put that in there. Well,
he's talking about himself. He's talking about himself.
Thank you so much for hanging out.
Oh, it's fun. Thanks for having me. So in the course of this interview, I asked Jim what surprised him about Kenya. And he shared that his own reaction was surprising, along with a lot of other things. Even though the goal of this podcast was to pique your interest in the upcoming episodes about our amazing missionaries in Kenya and the beautiful communities they serve. And by the way, I hope that we did that. If you asked me what was surprising about hosting this podcast, I would say that even though we talked about all those things, we talked about so much more. So now I want to leave you asking a few more questions. What do you do when you're afraid? Do you believe Jesus meets you in your fear? Are you feeling like your senses are numbed by the familiar? Are you willing to move out of your comfort zone to experience new things with the expectation that God will meet you there? In fact, He's already there. I'm really thankful Jim left the comfort zone of Philadelphia and traveled halfway around the world. I'm thankful because we'll benefit from his storytelling, be better equipped to pray and support God's work in that place. But I'm also thankful because Jim is my friend and my brother in Christ. And isn't it delightful to see our friends growing in their faith? If you're thinking you might want to step out of your comfort zone, I want you to know that Surge offers short-term opportunities that come alongside our missionaries all around the world. We have a lot of resources for renewal and mission in your life, so check the show notes to see more about that. And if you haven't yet, leave a rating on your podcast platform. If you're watching on YouTube, like this video and subscribe to Surge's YouTube channel. And now I want to leave you with these words of blessing. Fear not, for God is with you. Be not dismayed, for He is your God. He will strengthen you. He will help you. He will uphold you with His righteous right hand.